Hello folks, goodness me, has it been a little while since I've gone live? Every time I go live, I say it's been a while since I've gone live. I need to go live more often. I like being live. How are we all? Is everybody good? Rob's in his second Kev live stream of the day. That is some impressive work. You missed me Twitch streaming earlier today, boys and girls. If you didn't come over to Twitch, how are we all? Are we all good on a Saturday evening? Just give everyone a few minutes to arrive in the stream. Just make sure I mute myself on the other window as well, so I've not got myself talking back up. As much as I like the sound of my own voice, I don't need to hear it coming back through the other monitor. How are we all? Are we all good? Oh, it's getting... Oh, I love it when it gets busy. Getting lovely and busy. While we're waiting for everyone to arrive, let's all make sure we stick a thumbs up on the video, get lots of likes on there, because the more people leave a thumbs up, the more people will see the stream, which it's positive. It's all good stuff. If you haven't been in one of my Coffee with Kev live streams before, the premise is very simple. I've got nothing to talk about. We're just going to kind of play it by ear. What I do have, though, is a cup of coffee. This time in my Tim Hortons mug that Anna bought me when we went to see Christina Aguilera in Manchester at the end of last year. It's only about half full because I've gone all fancy these days. I've got an espresso machine now, and anyone who's got an espresso machine knows you can't get a full mug of coffee out of an espresso machine, and this is a big mug anyway. But it's a Nespresso version of Americano. It's very hot. It's got something stuck on that mug. Has not been washed very well. Look at that. Look at the state of that. That has not been washed very well at all. But I did the washing up, so I've only got myself to blame. So, yeah, you've got the time it takes me to drink that cup of coffee, which is usually about 25 minutes, 30 minutes, to ask as many questions as you want on whatever topic you want. I'll let you steer the conversation to wherever you want to go. Of course, because this is YouTube and YouTube have their silly rules, there is a current word that I'm not allowed to say, because it immediately strikes the fear of monetization into YouTube. I can't even say it. Into YouTube. I can talk about that, as long as it's not all we talk about. I just can't say that, because then the evil YouTube bots will know what we're talking about. But I don't know. If you're anything like me, you've spent most of the last 3 or 4 days nothing but news and all the coverage of all that stuff going on, and it might be nice to just have a half-hour chat where we don't have to talk about that. But like I say, I'll leave it in the hands of you lot. The usual rules are, because as you can see, the chat is super busy. There's no way I can answer every single question that's asked. So a couple of simple things to make it more likely your question gets answered. Firstly, don't spam the chat. If you spam the chat with your question over and over again, I am less likely to answer it. If you tag me in the question, it flashes up in red on my screen. So if you @ Kevin Chapman, I'm more likely to see your question. And of course, if you want to be absolutely guaranteed I answer your question, you could always do a super chat, but you do have to pay to do that. So you don't have to do that, but I promise here and now, I will definitely answer any question that comes in via super chat, because I think that's just fair. I'll also try and make sure I acknowledge any channel members that I can see appearing as well. I can see Fabe's Railway Adventures is in, Zabka is in, Rebby Roo 99 is in. Have we got any other channel members knocking about? We already saw Rob early on. Are you? I don't know that Rob is a channel member here. I know he is on my gaming channel. Kirsty Taylor's in. Is there any more channel members? It doesn't just give me a list. It would be nice to get a list so I could thank all the channel members as they arrived. But yeah, how are we all? Let's get stuck into some questions. Max F is in as well. There you go. How's the bleep going for the family? I mean, it's not hit this area yet, as far as I know. None of us are ill. It's not really much to say. I'm preparing for self-isolation. I'm about as prepared for self-isolation as I can be, because I live in my garage anyway, pretty much. For me, if I don't get ill, nothing will change. Other than if the kids are off school, then obviously I'll have to slightly change my working hours. But I work from home anyway. I'm naturally quite isolated in what I do. So, yeah, for me, not really a lot changes. Although if you follow me on Twitter, you'll have seen I went to Tesco earlier to stock up on Andy's food, and the place had been ransacked, including all the bird's eye potato waffles had gone. And there was a little note on there saying delivery on Thursday. So he's now got no waffles until Thursday, potentially. We're going to go and check around some other shops tomorrow. We do have the advantage of, obviously, Anna works in the co-op. So hopefully she'll be able to intercept the delivery if it comes in there a little sooner and get him some waffles. But that's the big fear, that his trying not to swear, morons will panic buy all the food that he eats because it's quite sort of staple store cupboard. If you're going to be stuck in the house stuff, you'll eat fish fingers and waffles and crisps, and we won't be able to get his normal stuff. And I don't want to have to resort to panic buying and bulk buying stuff, but they're kind of going to leave me with no choice with these waffles. If I see waffles anywhere, I'm buying 2 weeks worth, because what else am I supposed to do? There's none in. FM Terrible, thank you very much for the super chat. Very kind of you. No question. Just wanted to say hello. Well, hello to you too. Darth Pock 3 says, "Have I played Pokemon Sword?" I have played Pokemon Sword. I'm trying to remember if I had Sword or Shield. I think I have Pokemon Sword because I think Sword sounded cooler than Shield. I never actually finished it. I got through all the gyms and then got to the point where you had to do the bit at the end, the final four, whatever they're called. I can't remember the word. And I just stopped for some reason. Something else must have come out and I've not gone back to it. So it's on my to-do list to go back and finish Pokemon Sword. But I loved it. Really enjoyed it. Joel Morris asks, how did Andy take to being told he can't go to Disney? We haven't told him he can't go to Disney. We've changed the language we're using with him, where when because he's said 10 times today, probably more today than he normally would because of how he answered the first time. We're now saying if it's open. So we've told him Disney's closed at the moment. He nearly made Anna cry earlier because he said, what was it exactly that he said? Disneyland in May. I replied with, if it's open, it's closed at the moment. And he just said, I'll be a good boy, Disneyland in May. And Anna, that nearly broke Anna because obviously that's him trying to bargain with us. Well, if I'm good, then we can still go, can't we? And this was the big thing in the video that we put out yesterday, that a lot of, I think if you don't know us as a family and Andy really well, you might not understand why it's a big deal. That he can't understand the whole concept of a pandemic and people being ill everywhere and stuff being closed. It's far too abstract a concept for him. He understands open and closed, but he also knows they'll open it. Yeah, it might be closed now. Stuff closes. It'll open again before we go. We'll still go in May. And yeah, there's no telling him he's not going. We'll just have to play it by ear and hope we still get to go. We haven't cancelled it. So we'll just have to cross our fingers and hope that somehow there's a miracle and we still get to go. But I think it's probably fairly unlikely, but you know, you've got to hope. JMSN Worley says, well, I said I'd read out any super chats. Boris Johnson is a wet wipe for not closing schools. I don't want to get into politics. I don't even really know what the right thing to do is about schools because I can see it from both sides and I know it's not cool, especially in the social media space where it's very young leaning to not see both sides. But if this is going to be something that goes on for 3, 4, 5 months, like they're talking about, well, schools can't be closed for 3, 4, 5 months. People have got exams to take. People have got jobs to start. Anna's got uni to finish. Parents have got jobs to go to. The entire economy will grind to a halt if school's closed for 3 or 4 or 5 months. And I know there's a lot of people saying, yeah, but that doesn't matter. Who cares? Health takes priority over money. And yes, of course it does. But at the same time, if the economy drives to a halt, there'll be even less money going into the NHS, which then means people's health will suffer, and not just now, but will suffer longer term as well. And it's a really, really difficult situation. So I can see both sides of the argument, and I wouldn't want to have to make the decision. I'm glad I don't have to make the decision because it's hard. Zabka says, do you think everyone is overreacting over the virus? I served someone at work that bought 8 packs of toilet rolls. Where do you work? Because I saw my dad earlier today, and he said in Lidl they've got a big sign up saying you're only allowed 2 of each. There's like 2 lots of toilet roll, 2 lots of pasta, that kind of thing. I think people are overreacting, but I think it's because they're scared. We talked about this a little bit on the podcast last night. If you haven't heard, the link's down in the description, I think, to the Mature Gamer podcast, the first half hour of which was talking about all this. But I think social media has a lot to answer for this one. This is the first time we've had a big thing like this where social media has been a big part of it. I remember swine flu vividly from like 10, 12 years ago, but social media wasn't really a thing. So, yeah, I think I think people are feeding each other's panic, and it is a problem because it's dumb that we've sold out of it's dumb that people are stocking up on toilet roll. It's dumb that people are stocking up on food. I think what everyone needs to realize, and it's like the same. I made a video at Christmas that quite a few people thought. I got quite a few people moaning about the video I made at Christmas about Christmas shopping, but it's because that annoys me as well. The mentality of some people, if everyone just stopped panic buying, nobody would need to panic buy. The only reason people need to panic buy is because people are panic buying. So just stop it, you morons. But obviously, it's all well and good saying that. But even if you've got 98% of people are not morons and are not panic buying, you only need that 2%. I saw a thing on Twitter earlier where a guy in America had gone out and bought 18,000 hand sanitizers so he could sell them on the internet. So you only need that one guy doing that, and he bought every hand sanitizer across 2 states. So you just need a couple of people to be idiots, and it ruins it for everyone else, and everyone then has to be an idiot. Oh, it's frustrating. Right. Finn Roberts says, what are we doing for 100,000 subs? Waiting. Waiting a long, long time is what we're doing for 100,000 subs. Will it ever happen? Nobody knows. Oh, we've been so close for so long, and you know what? It'll be just my luck that because all these different countries are going into lockdown now, the UK will go into lockdown, and then 3 hours later we'll tick over to 100,000 subs, and I won't even be able to go and get the cliche balloons. And it'll just be, I'll do this. I'll come on here and say, we're in lockdown, but I hit 100,000. Thanks, guys. And that'll be it. Lee Ballington says, many kids think they're going to get a longer holiday if the school's closed. They won't. They'll have work assignments to do at home. Silly bears. They are silly bears. And I think and this same argument applies to the football season and the wrestling and all the other stuff that I've been following. I think what everyone needs to realise is if we have, let's say the schools closed let's say if they did close for 3 months now, you think you're still getting 6 weeks off in the summer if that happens? Of course you're not, because you've still got to get through the curriculum. You've still got to pass your exams. Everything will just move. We might be playing the end of the football season in September and going to school all summer and moving Christmas to June, or, you know, it's going to be a mess and it's going to take a lot of sorting out, but you'll still get, students will still get their, what is it? I used to know this number off the top of my head. Is it 180 days of school a year a student gets? You're still going to get your 180 days. If you take like a 3-year average in 3 years' time, you'll still get that time. It'll fit. It'll all be recovered. You're not winning any time off if they close now. You're just getting time off when it's miserable and cold outside and you're not allowed to go out anyway. You'd be better off just being off in the summer. Zabka says, I work at B&M in Nantwich. B&M. I love B&M, but I can imagine it is an absolute just riot zone at the moment. That must be... Have a couple of days off. Aaron G&V says, hi, mate. Hope you and the family are all right. We're good. We are good. It's weird because... I said this wasn't going to be what this stream is about, but it's obviously turned into it. Even there's surreal stuff going on, even stuff like I tweeted about the Disney thing on Thursday and immediately had the Press Association getting in touch with me. So that's why we were in the Daily Mirror yesterday, and we've got ITV News coming out to interview us about it tomorrow morning, and we've got Heart FM wanting to interview us about it, and it's mad. It's a crazy situation. So, yeah, I can't keep on top of everything. Right, where did we get to in this chat? I noticed a channel member asked a question, but then the chat scrolled past it. Kirsty Taylor, does Andy enjoy going to the cinema? My son has autism and has just started going to autism-friendly screenings. There's adverts and low lighting. He does enjoy going to the cinema. He saw Toy Story 4 at the cinema whenever that came out. We went to see Frozen 2 at the cinema. There's a couple of cinemas near to us that do autism-friendly screenings, and it's brilliant. There's one up in Boston, which I can't remember the name of, but we vlogged from there, and that's where we saw Frozen 2. And there's one over in Wisbech, the Lux, where my buddy Bouncy is the manager there, and they do autism-friendly screenings as well. So yeah, Andy does enjoy the cinema if it's the right movie. Usually, if it's a Disney film, he'll enjoy it. Joel Morris says, in my local supermarket, there's no toilet paper or I'm assuming you mean soap, not soup. But I could believe soup being sold out as well. I literally walked around Tesco this afternoon and There was hardly anything in the freezers. There was hardly any tins. There was no like bread or anything. And I was there with my dad, and we were just sort of stood at the end of one aisle, and they brought out one of those massive trolley things, not like a normal shopping trolley, a massive delivery crate thing, I guess it is, full of toilet roll. And there were literally people following it, waiting for them to unpack the toilet roll so that they could get some. It's crazy times. I've never known anything like it. It is a crazy time. Right, let's pick out some more of these questions. How did Andy get the name Rupert? Teach fan. That is a simple one to answer. His name is Andrew. Called him Roo. Or I guess it's Drew you would normally call someone, but Roo is the end of Andrew. And when I first met them, Anna was calling him Roo, and I jokingly said, "Oh, short for Rupert," and it kind of stuck. And now he'll occasionally refer to himself as Rupert as well. Although at the moment he's been calling himself Andy G, because I think that's what I think there's two Andys in his class at school. So now when he's talking about himself in the third person, he's always Andy G. Andy G. It's brilliant. I'm Alfie. Thank you for the super chat. Your brother has autism. You've here to help me understand him. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad we can help. Right, let's pick out a couple more questions. Georgie K says, "Didn't Bounce used to be on the podcast?" He did used to be on the podcast years ago. That is a good remembering. What do we have planned for tomorrow? Not a lot, really. We're going to go out and meet with these ITV News people in the morning, and then just sit at home. All we've done today is sit at home. We're kind of trying to limit going out as much as possible, but we're going to a local park to meet the news people tomorrow. Just because if we bring them here, Dave will just waff the whole way through. When anyone comes around the house, Dave will not leave them alone. He will not stop barking. And I can't imagine a TV crew bringing a TV camera in here. And Dave what he's like around my camera. So we're going to go out to a nearby park and do that. Does Andy still like Easter eggs? We won't know until Easter. I guess we haven't given it. He hasn't had any for ages, but I'm sure he probably does. He's a lot more flexible on what he eats now. We went out for dinner last night as like a final chance to go out for dinner before we're not allowed to go out for months. We went to the Harvester, and he just had fish finger and chips kids meal there and just ate it all. So he is getting better with his variety of stuff that he'll eat. So he still likes chocolate. I'm sure he'll still like Easter eggs. I can't remember the last time he stopped liking something he used to like. He's tending to just add more stuff on now, which is cool. Have we been stockpiling? No, we talked about stockpiling earlier. You must have been a little bit late joining the stream. Lauren Biddle 10 says, "What was your dream job when you were younger?" I had 3 dream jobs, and I've kind of achieved 2 of them. Dream job number 1, this is the one I didn't achieve. I wanted to be a professional footballer, which dodgy knees and not being very good ruined that for me. But the other 2, I think I've kind of done. I really wanted to be a journalist or a writer. Now, I've never been a journalist, but I have written a book, which is sort of the same. So that's pretty cool. And the third thing I wanted to do was be a radio DJ. And I've been doing a podcast for 10 years, which again, it's not quite being a radio DJ, but it's sort of the modern equivalent of it. I think if the job I did now existed when I was a kid, this is the job I would want to do. I've always wanted to just work for myself, do something creative, and just be able to kind of set my own agenda, get up in the morning and do what I want and find a way to get paid for it. And that's what I do now. So this would have been the perfect job. It just didn't exist back then. Right, let's pick out some more questions. There's a lot of the same questions coming up over and over again. Can we try to avoid asking the same questions over and over again, because it just clogs the chat up. If Andy's school closes, how do you think that will affect his schedule? I think he'll be fine. He's used to there being holidays now, so he'll just assume he's on a long holiday. He'll be all right. Does Andy understand if all crisps are the same? My little brother doesn't like crisp package changes. Yeah, Andy hates it when they change the crisp packet. We had a big issue a few years ago when he was more fussy with food. He stopped eating crisps for a week or 2 because they changed the crisp packet. And he would, even then, for about a year afterwards, he would only eat them if he emptied them out onto a plate and didn't have to see the bag. So yeah, he used to be a lot more particular about it than he is now. Like I say, he's kind of chilled out a lot with the food that he eats now. Peter Nancaro. Okay, it's not much, but if you need to rearrange. Oh, Peter, please don't. Thank you, but please don't think that you need to make donations to help us rearrange our trip. Like, I hope I made it clear in the video yesterday that we can get a full refund. So please don't anybody donate because you think we need money to pay for another trip to Disney. If it comes to it, we'll get a full refund and we'll be able to rebook it. But that is very kind, thank you. But please, nobody donate because you think we need money for a Disney trip. That's not the reason we're not going. We can afford to go, and if we have to cancel, we'll get our money back and we'll be able to afford to go again. Hammer Cosplay and Collectibles says, in self-isolation, I've been watching lots of lollujo. Are you in self-isolation because you've got symptoms, or are you just not taking any risks? Because that's I hope you've not. I hope nobody here is experiencing any symptoms. Anna came downstairs today and said that she had a bit of a headache and wasn't feeling well, and I immediately just googled it, and apparently if you have a headache with it, it's probably not the thing, because it doesn't tend to come with a headache. So she's not coughing or anything. She's not got a fever. She'll be fine. Did I go to Tim Hortons? I did go to Tim Hortons in Salford in like November. We vlogged it. We had coffee, which was really nice. We had their version of a McMuffin, which wasn't too great. And I had a donut, which was okay, but not quite a Krispy Kreme. The whole of Canada hates me now, I imagine. Geeky Guy asks, how did you feel when Lucy told you about Owen, and did he quickly become part of the family? This is an example of me not being very emotional. I didn't really feel anything. It was just like, oh yeah, Lucy's got a boyfriend. There he is. And yeah, he's been away with us plenty of times. It tends to be wherever Lucy is, he follows now. So it's just, yeah, he's just there, just part of the furniture. Have you heard of Chloe on TikTok? I have used TikTok maybe twice in my life. Anna might know. I know nothing about TikTok. Harry Roberts says, what made you ditch the opening of The Living Proof You're Never Too Old? I changed the channel of the name. The channel of the name of the channel. For anyone who's watched old videos where I did that as an opener, but maybe didn't realise that was the name of the channel at the time, this channel was originally called Never Too Old, and it was all about doing toy hunts and collectible unboxings and things like that. And then I put up a vlog where we went to Skegness for the day, and that was much more popular than any of those videos that I did. And I still carried on trying to do the unboxings and the collectible stuff for a little while. And nobody was watching there when I put out another. I think I put out another vlog of us going bowling, and that was way more popular than the other stuff. So in the end, I abandoned the more nerdy stuff. Not buying it, as you'll see from looking around this room. It's still full of all that stuff, but I don't tend to make it the focus of the channel anymore. So it then became lollujo Vlogs, and then Kevin Chapman, and was briefly the Chapman family, but is now back to Kevin Chapman again. And I won't ever change the channel name now. I promise. Almost certainly. We'll change it again. Hammer Cosplay says, yeah, unfortunately I got symptoms. Well, hopefully you're all right. Hopefully you're young and healthy and all good. When was Andy's latest fire drill at his school? No idea. Why does my book say David Chapman? This is an unnecessarily long story to tell. How can I simplify it? At the time, I was still a teacher, and I had written like 5 or 6 other books that are no longer available. Me and Sheepdog from the podcast had written loads of books together that were a little bit more adult themed. They weren't porn books, but they had like swearing and violence. And then we did like a zombie comedy, a zomcom, and we did more of a sitcom in a book type thing. But it was quite adult humor. There was swearing, there was violence, there was yeah. It wasn't really appropriate for my students to discover those books and find those books. And they were all written under my real name. So when I then wrote a book that I did want to share with my students, this isn't a quick way to tell the story. I need a quicker version of this. When I did write a book that I then wanted my students to see, I couldn't put it under the same name as the other books, because when you go on Amazon, you can click on the author name and it'll show you all the other books that person has written. So I had to use a different name. So I just used my middle name. My middle name's David. And yeah, I wish it had all happened the other way around now, because those other books are no longer available. The revision guide is still a major part of my income every month, and now it's got a different. I should have done the YouTube channel as David Chapman, but I don't do consistency. Emma Wace, thank you for the super chat. You should do TikTok. I've literally sat there with the app open in front of me, trying to work out what I could do on it. I'm not gonna dance, but at the same time, I can't do like quick, funny little skits and things. I don't think there's a place for me on TikTok. I think I'm too old for TikTok. I waffle too much. I can't fit stuff into it. It's the same reason I struggled with Vine. I had Vine. I tried being a Viner for like 2 years, and I even had a silly little series on there called Mustard News where I'd do silly things with mustard, and it was just silly nonsense, but it never really went anywhere. I don't think the way I produce content is suited to TikTok. Joel Morris, thank you for the super chat. Will you be doing any more videos on lollujo 2? Yes, in fact, there'll be a video out on lollujo 2 probably on Monday. I sat there all afternoon today streaming on Twitch Civilization 6, and I'm now going to be taking those streams and chopping them up into smaller videos to come out as episodes on lollujo 2. So I'm going to be streaming non-Football Manager gaming stuff probably 2 or 3 times a week now, and then those streams will form the basis for videos that will come out on lollujo 2. So there's going to be some Civilization stuff out this week. And there'll be other bits and pieces. I'll probably put some Animal Crossing on there. There'll be some Persona when the updated version of Persona 5 comes out. Might be some more Minecraft. So yeah, there'll be stuff on there. Maybe even some FIFA. Well, I hear FIFA's having its own troubles at the moment. Zabka says, do we have a PO box? We don't have a PO box anymore. We used to, but we closed it because it just got a little bit silly. It got to the point where I felt like people were sending us stuff that we didn't need. It wasn't just the grass, but the grass was a part of it. We got sent a lot of AstroTurf, but also I don't know, it started to become apparent that a lot of the people sending stuff to the PO box were maybe younger viewers or people who perhaps didn't have enough money to spare. I felt guilty about taking stuff off of people who perhaps couldn't afford to give the stuff, and it's just too difficult to manage. And yeah, it ended up being more trouble than it was worth. Pick a Blue Chew, thank you for the super chat, but it looks like Alfie's deleted whatever you wrote. I don't know why. I assume you were a naughty rascal. If someone wants to give me a non-naughty version of whatever that was, I want to acknowledge the super chat, but at the same time, I want to, if they were naughty. Yeah, I can't even see it on there. What did they do, Alfie? How's lovely Anna getting to do a makeup tutorial? I keep trying. One day she'll do a makeup tutorial. I keep trying. George Vlogs TV, thank you very much for a very generous super chat. How will we celebrate 100,000? I actually answered your question. You should ask another question, because for 15 quid you should have one I've not already answered today. But yeah, I'm assuming we'll hit 100 grand just as the country goes into lockdown, so we won't be able to celebrate at all. So I'll probably just do a live stream and say, thanks guys, we got there in the end. But yeah, we don't have like big plans for it, because we can't. That's the thing at the moment with the way the world is at the moment. We can't really plan anything, can we? We can't. I mean, what can we plan? Oh, we could go to Alton Towers. We probably won't be able to. We could go to Disneyland. Oh no, we can't. We could. There's nothing. It's so annoying. There's nothing we can plan for. Oh, he was being nasty, was he? Fair enough. Yeah, mods have spoken. Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, Alfie, DM it to me. I'm interested to know, but I won't read it out if it was mean. Do I think Andy will go to college? Yeah, I think he probably will. I don't know when, but I think he'll find something he's interested in and probably go to college. Yeah, he's got another 4 years of school yet, and then they'll try and get him into college after that, I imagine. How do I think Andy will cope if schools are closed? I think he'll love it. He'll just sit there on his iPad all day. The idea, I sort of used this quote tongue in cheek with, if you've read the piece in the Daily Mirror yesterday, there's a quote in there that I kind of said tongue in cheek and didn't expect them to use in the article, but they did. And I said that Andy will love self-isolation. It's basically his natural habitat. Because it is. If Andy had his way, he would self-isolate all day, every day. The idea of being told, yeah, Andy, you're not allowed to leave the house. You just have to stay here. You still have the internet, though. You can go on your iPad and your Switch, but you're not allowed to leave the house for 2 weeks. It's like his dream come true. So he'll have a great time. Right, where did we get to with these comments? Do you think the season will carry on or be declared null and void? Football season, I think they have to finish it. I think I think at this point, if you're declaring it null and void, there's got. I mean, as a posh fan, our chairman has been very vocal about it on Twitter, and made it quite clear that he's happy to sue if the season's declared null and void, because obviously we're in with a chance of getting promoted, and it's not fair. I mean, imagine being Liverpool and the season being declared null and void when you're about to win the league for the first time in, what, 40 years, 30 years? How long has it been? They've got to finish the season. Stuart, thank you for the super chat. Love your videos. If you could be any comic hero, who would it be and why? Can I be really cliche and just say Batman because he's rich and cool? Batman's not my favourite, but if I had to be one, I don't know actually, because Batman's got no superpowers. So maybe I'd be Superman, but less of a Boy Scout with it. Or Spider-Man's cool. I just any of them. Yeah, any of them, I guess. I like the idea of having Superman's powers, but Superman as a character is a bit boring. Whereas Spider-Man, I'm a bit too old and fat to be Spider-Man. Maybe, I mean, Batman for his money. Money, being rich is his superpower. I'll have that. Colin Campbell, thank you for the super chat. Right, let's pick out a few more questions. We're probably going to do another 5 or 10 minutes. I've barely touched my coffee. If I was to support a Premier League team, who would it be? I support Tottenham. It would probably be Arsenal. And that's not to say I do support Arsenal, but there's lots of pictures of me as a kid in Arsenal shirts. My dad's an Arsenal fan. I've been to see Arsenal a few times. Back before I rejected the Premier League, I'm kind of outing myself here because I don't think I've ever disclosed this before. My Football Manager crowd will go mental. But back before, I turned my back on the Premier League like 15 years ago. But up until that point, I guess I would have considered Arsenal my second team. But yeah, when I gave up on the Premier League, I gave up on all that. I genuinely have no loyalties now, and I couldn't name Arsenal's normal starting 11. So I literally have no interest in the Premier League now. But yeah, there's probably an Arsenal shirt or two knocking around in my wardrobe from years ago. Stinky Toffee 12 says thoughts on WrestleMania future and SmackDown. SmackDown I thought was really cool last night. I really enjoyed it. Triple H was an absolute legend. I have him on commentary all the time. He was brilliant. WrestleMania, I think they just have to postpone. There's no way you can run WrestleMania in an empty arena like that, and there's no way you can run it with fans there. So I think WrestleMania just has to be cancelled, and I guess you just need to put it back to like September, October time to give all of the, because the other thing you got to consider is giving all of the indie companies the opportunity to go and book their events there as well, because they need WrestleMania more than WWE do probably. But yeah, WrestleMania is getting cancelled. Of that, I think we're all pretty certain. Batman's superpower is his very handy utility belt, which he bought with all his money. Thoughts on Starbucks? Starbucks is delicious. But all coffee is audacious. Is delicious. What's Dave and Andy's relationship like? They don't really like each other. Actually, no, it's not fair to say they don't like each other. Andy doesn't really like Dave. Dave would love some attention from Andy. He occasionally tries and just gets pushed away. Andy has absolutely zero interest in Dave. Never has. But bearing in mind the reason we got Dave is because we were told getting a dog might be good for Andy. We might find it easier to bond with an animal than a human. So we got a dog. And yeah, Andy just doesn't care. Just not interested in him at all. When are you going to take Andy to a level crossing? He sees level crossings all the time. There's a level crossing between our house and Anna's uni. So whenever I pick Anna up from uni with Andy, we go to a level crossing. Whenever we go to Boston or Nottingham, he sees level crossings. We just tend not to film them so much anymore because I think there's only, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe you'll all tell me I'm wrong, but I think there's only so many times I can do a video about us going to stand at a level crossing and filming us doing it. So there's lots of times we do it and it doesn't even make it in the vlog now because I assume people know we're probably going to go to lots of level crossings and we don't need to see them because you've seen them a lot before. Right. Let's try and pick out a few more. Harry says, how long are you going for tonight? Not much longer. My coffee is getting cold, so I need to down it in a minute and then I'm done. Collab with PewDiePie. If he is interested, I'm interested. He knows how to find me. He probably doesn't. But if he wanted to, he could find me. Kia Panda says, if you could get rid of Andy's autism, would you? No, because it's not something to get rid of. Being autistic is what makes Andy who he is. It's how his brain works. It's how he thinks. It's what his personality is. To take away his autism, you take away him being Andy. Yeah, it's not something you can't just pluck out somebody's autism. And Max, enjoy sorting your kids. Toodle pip. Laura Bloomy says, when's the next big potato game you want to test out? There was one they had that I forget. They're doing a blockbuster. Not blockbuster. There was one based on they're doing one based on an old TV show, I think. And I don't know if I officially know that or if I secretly know that. Someone tell me what games Big Potato have got coming up and I'll tell you which one it is. But there are a few that I'm very interested in. Harry, what is that you've just sent? Harry has just sent looks like a what is that? Like a pear giving a thumbs up. Thank you for the super chat and the pear giving a thumbs up. It's awesome. Right. Let's try and find some. Remember, if you've got questions, copy me in on them because then they flash up as red on my screen. There's no chance of me seeing any questions that aren't done like that. But if they flash red, I've got more of a chance of seeing them. Did you know that there's 3 trains at Legoland? No. No. There's like the one that goes up and down the side of the hill. There's the one that goes around the track. There's a third one? Where's the third one? Louis does stuff. Hi, Kev, love your channel. Thank you. That's very kind. And thank you for the super chat as well. Would you book a UK holiday later in the year instead of Disneyland? That's what I've done. No, purely because if and when we have to get our money back for Disneyland, we need to save it to go to Disneyland because we're going to have to go to Disney. We can't not go to Disneyland because Andy will not let it drop. He will ask every day for the rest of his life if we don't take him back. So we're going to be going to Disneyland. It's just a case of when we go to Disneyland. So yeah, we won't spend that money on anything else. Can we have another games night with the girls and Owen? Yes, but it's all about getting us all together in the same place. It's becoming more and more difficult to get everyone together because Lucy's now doing uni, Owen's working, and he starts uni, I think, in September. And Amy's doing her bits and pieces, and she's got her GCSEs just about to start in September. And it's just... I can't remember the last time. Well, I can remember the last time we were all together in the same room was in London. I mean, it hasn't happened since then. I've seen at least every single person individually or in small groups plenty of times since then. But for all 6 of us in the same room, the last time it happened was London. The time before that was Christmas Day. The time before that was probably Centre Parks. It's just really difficult to get everybody together at the same time. So, yeah, there will be more games nights. But they're a nightmare to schedule because there's too many people involved and we're all too busy. It's my birthday tomorrow. Footy FC, happy birthday for tomorrow. Is Amy going to do a Sim series? I think you mentioned it a while back. Yeah, probably not. I don't know. She's not mentioned it for a while. I've not even seen her play Sims for a while. I think ever since she got her Switch, she's kind of stopped. I don't think she's touched the PlayStation since she's had her Switch. And unless they bring Sims out on Switch, I don't imagine she'll go back to it anytime soon. How's the process with my autism diagnosis? No, not really any further than it was last time I talked about it. I had an appointment booked at the doctor's, just a GP's appointment for early next month to chase it up and say, why have I heard nothing? But I got a message through the other day saying they weren't doing face-to-face doctor's appointments for stuff that was booked online anymore, and they'd moved it to a phone appointment and asked if I wanted to cancel. And I thought, you know what, the doctors are probably going to be quite busy. There's more important stuff going on in the NHS at the moment. Probably going to drop this for a little while, and once all this is blown over, then I'll go in and say, look, nearly 2 years ago I was referred to this. what is happening. But yeah, I'm not going to push it at the moment. I'm not that irresponsible. I like I said plenty of times, I don't need a diagnosis. It's not going to change my life at all. I'm just interested in finding out. So yeah, I'm not going to push it at the moment. Right, we're going to do maybe 5 more questions because I'm almost out of coffee. Last mouthful. Plus, I did say I was only going to stream for like half an hour. How long have we been going? I don't even know how long we've been streaming for. I suggest it's probably more than half an hour. 43 minutes! My word! 5 questions then. So, let's pick out some good ones. Am I planning on making any more GeoGuessr Sundays? Probably not, because I don't think I can make GeoGuessr fun anymore. My goal was to get a perfect score in the UK. I did that. I'm never going to get a perfect score in the rest of the world. And it's not fun watching me be rubbish at it. But at the same time, it wouldn't be fun watching me get a perfect score every time. And I think I could. I think 9 times out of 10 in the UK, I'll get a perfect score now. I think I've got good at it in the UK. So, yeah, I just don't think it's fun anymore. So, I've stopped. Laura Bloomy says, the big potato game you were thinking of is Top of the Pops. Of course, Top of the Pops. Yes, that's the one I want. I knew there was a game based on something that I'd seen and thought, that looks awesome. Yes, Top of the Pops. Is that out? Is it? I'm hoping it's not out yet because they haven't sent me one. Yeah, I really want to play that. That would be awesome. And I think that will really interest Anna and Lucy as well. So I think that's got a pretty good chance of getting us all together for a games night. What's my Hogwarts house? Hufflepuff. Yeah, lots of people saying Top of the Pops now. Yes, it was that one. Has Andy ever shown any interest in sport? Watching it, no. Playing it, not really. Other than he likes a bit of golf. He plays golf at school, and he likes playing crazy golf with us. We've made a couple of golf videos now. Right, 2 more. Is it 2? 3 more questions, I think. What's my dream holiday destination? My dream holiday is, and I've mentioned this a few times before, and it's not doable at the moment, but my dream holiday is, it's after the kids have all moved out and left home, so it'll just be me and Anna, and maybe Dave, but I don't think we'll be able to get him in. So just me and Anna. We fly to one side of the US, whether we're starting East Coast or West Coast. We fly there, we buy a Winnebago, and we drive that Winnebago in a big zigzag, taking in all the sites we want to see in America to the other coast, and then sell it and fly home again. And we'll be there like 3 months, and we'll do everything. I want to go to Vegas. I want to go to New York. We want to do all the Disney stuff. I want to see San Francisco and, everywhere. All the bits that aren't on the sea as well. New Orleans looks awesome. I've never been to America, and I just want to do it all in one go because I think it would be really cool. How's Andy doing with his whiteboard at the moment? Does he still erase it all? Hopefully the one I sent you a while ago is still around somewhere. I think the one you sent me is the one that's on the wall, isn't it? Because I think we bought... I can't remember the sequence of events now. Is the one on the board... Is the one on the wall now the same one that we always had? Because I think we had one that he wrecked, and then we bought one that wasn't the same, and then you sent us one that was like the old one, and I think that's the one that's up, isn't it? I know there's one on the wall and one behind the cupboard ready to go up on the wall when that one's gone. So, yeah, either the one you sent is the one that's on the wall or it's behind the cupboard ready to go up next. But he's not really using it at all at the moment. He does just wipe it off whenever we use it. He's got this thing in his head at the moment where every day he'll say, holiday now. And we'll say, well, no, it's school tomorrow or it's the weekend, but he's convinced it's always holiday. And if we try and write anything else on his board, he wipes it off. All he's interested in is holidays. I think if we put on the board that he was going to Disney in 3 weeks' time, I think he'd leave that up, but he doesn't want the stuff on there that he doesn't want to see. I never got the members behind the scenes video. It'll be coming out soon. With channel memberships has only been around for about a month, hasn't it? I've got one ready to make. I think I've even got it written down to come out this weekend. So it should be. Anyone who was in the initial batch should be able to see it. It's not going to be hugely long. There's not a load of clips. But yeah, it'll be coming out very soon. And I've got a members only Q&A planned for the next week or so as well. So you'll get your stuff. You'll get your stuff. Don't worry. Does Andy like flags? Can't say he's ever shown much of an interest in them, I don't think. Do I like Animal Crossing? And if so, could we get a Let's Play? I don't know if like Animal Crossing is the right word. I'm getting Animal Crossing. I've played it in the past and put quite a lot of hours into it. The most recent one, New Leaf, was it, on the DS? But I don't really get it. I don't really see what the point of it is. But I am getting it. I will stream it, and I'll try and figure out what the point is. But I don't really get it. I don't really understand. Someone needs to explain Animal Crossing to me, I think. Right, final question. Will Andy go to Comic-Con? Well, we're probably not going to Comic-Con at this rate. So, yeah, I doubt it. Not anytime soon. But we will wrap it up there. I will try and do another live stream again a bit sooner. It's been probably about a month since the last one. And judging by how busy it is and how many questions are still flying in, I think we need to do them a bit more often. I just need to get on top of it and do them a bit more often. But I've been given instructions by Anna to be in the house by 9 o'clock because we're watching a film apparently. So I probably need to go in the house and do as I'm told, or I'll be in trouble. So thank you to everyone who has joined in on the stream asking questions. If you didn't get your question asked, hopefully we'll get round to you next time. Thank you as well for everyone who got involved in the super chats and stuff. That stuff is always a massive help. So thank you to everybody who does that. It really does help to support the channel, support what we do. But we will be back. Weekly vlog will be out on Monday as usual. We've got the pre-recorded Q&A that will be coming out midweek as well, that was supposed to come out yesterday but then didn't, and lots of other stuff on the horizon as well. Thank you for watching, and toodle pip folks. Bye. Are we stopping?